All right, fifth graders, today we're going to be multiplying fractions. Sometimes we're going to be multiplying fractions by fractions, and sometimes we're going to be multiplying fractions by whole numbers. So let's take a look at your teacher example number 1, 3/8 times 2/5. So go ahead and follow along with us as we do this problem, and we being me and Miss Jenkins. All right, so we have 3/8 times 2/5. Unlike adding fractions where you have to have denominators to be the same, multiplying fractions makes it a little bit easier because you can just multiply across. So I'm going to multiply the numerator, 3 times 2, that would give me 6. I'm going to now multiply the denominator, 8 times 5, that would give me 40. Now, I know that my numerator and denominator are both even numbers, because 6 and 40 are even. So I know I have to simplify, but I just don't know what the greatest factor is. So I'm going to write my factors as 6. And I'm going to write my factors of 40. Okay. What times what equals 6? Well, we can start with 1 times 6. We can do 2 times 3. 3 and 2 are already represented. 4 doesn't work, 5 doesn't work, and 6 is already here. Okay, moving on. 1 times 40. That's easy. 2 times 20. That's double 20. 3 doesn't work. 4 times 10 does work. 5 times... Oh, it's right here, guys. 5 times 8. 5 times 8. 6, no. 7, no. 8. 8's here already. 9, no. 10 is already there. So I have all my factors. Now the biggest factor that they have in common, well, 1 they have in common, but the biggest one they have in common is 2. So I'm going to simplify by dividing the numerator and denominator by 2. That's a division sign, guys. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 40 divided by 2 is 20. So your final answer should be 3 over 20, and you should know that it's already simplified because 3 is a prime number and you can't really simplify that further. Okay, check your work.
Okay, students, 7/9 times 3 is different than the one we saw before because this is not a fraction by a fraction. It's a fraction multiplying by a whole number. So 7/9 times 3, I'm going to treat that 3 as a 7/9 times 3 over 1. So remember in multiplying, we just go straight across. So 7 times 3 is 21. 9 times 1 is 9. Now I have 21/9. Well, that needs to be simplified, right? I know I need to simplify it because the numerator is bigger than the denominator, and I know that the 9 can go into 21. 21 can be divided by 9. So I just do the long division. I go 9 into 21 to give me a model of what I need to do. 9 goes into 21 2 times. 2 times 9 is 18, with the remainder of 3. So that's 2 3/9. Well, can the 3/9 be simplified? Yes. So...
All right, so let's see what we can simplify it by. So right now we have the fraction 2 3/9. Okay. Now I'm going to write my factors of the numerator and my factors of the denominator. So my factors of 3, and I'm going to do it in yellow. Hopefully we can see. The factors of 3 and the factors of 9. All right, so what times what equals 3? Well, 3 has the benefit of being a prime number, so it's really just 1 times 3. For 9, 1 times 9 works, obviously, but 3 times 3 also works. And you guys can check your multiplication tables if you're ever stuck. Now, what factors do they have in common? Well, they obviously share 1, but the biggest one they share is 3. So we're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by the common factor of 3. Now, my whole number stays the same, so that's still 2 wholes. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we have our final answer of 2 1/3. All right, for this next problem, it says you try. So I would very much like for you to multiply these fractions and, more importantly, make sure if you can simplify it. We would love to see a correctly simplified answer. All right, let's see if you got it right. So 4/5 times 10/11, which I know looks like a weird fraction, but it's legitimate. It's a real fraction. All right, multiplying across, we have 40 over 55. Well, we know that we probably can divide the numerator and denominator because they're both multiples of 5, right? Like if you count by 5, you're probably going to get to those two numbers. Let's see what the biggest number we can divide by is. Oops. Here is 40. So I'm going to find my factors of 40 and my factors of 55. And for some of you, you might need to get out your multiplication chart for this. It might help. So we're going to start off easy with 1 times 40, 2 times 20. This sounds like the one that we did before. You can copy your number 1. That's totally fine. 4 times 10. And check your multiplication chart. 5 times 8. All right, for 55. 1 times 55, obviously. 2 doesn't work. 3, no. 4, no. 5. 5 times 11. 6, no. 7, no. 8, no. 9, no. 10, no. 11. Already there. Okay, so the biggest factor that they have in common, well, they share 1. 2, no. 4, no. 10, no. They share 5. So hopefully you've divided the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor of 5. Okay, and you can use your multiplication chart to check your work. 40 divided by 5 is 8. 55 divided by 5 is 11. Your most simplified answer is 8 over 11. Check your work. All right, boys and girls, this is the last one that we're going to be working with you together. So try your best. Good luck. And remember to simplify and make it into a mixed fraction if you need to. All right, let's see and check your work. So as Ms. Jenkins said, if I have a whole number times a fraction, I can turn my whole number into a fraction over 1. So 6 over 1 times, that's a times, 2 over 3. Multiplying across, we have 12 over 3. Now, I know this is an improper fraction because my numerator, 12, is bigger than my denominator, 3. So first, I'm going to divide 12 by 3. Okay, how many times does 3 go into 12? 3, 6, 9, 12. It goes into it 4 times. 3 times 4 is 12, giving me the remainder of 0. Oh my gosh, that's so easy. So I have 4 wholes as my answer because technically 0 over 3 is the same thing as no fraction. So your final answer should have been 4 wholes. At this point, we are on your exit ticket, so flip your paper over. This is problems 5, 6, and 7. So make sure that you have, number 1, multiplied correctly, so check your multiplication chart. And number 2, make sure that you have simplified your fractions correctly. And number 3, make sure that if it is an improper fraction, so a fraction bigger than a whole, that you've changed it into a mixed number. Good luck, and we can't wait to see your work.